Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Sorry I haven't recorded in so long. Believe it or not, I have been a bit busy with my actual life. Although some part of me feels like, that's a bit of procrastination. Um, and, maybe I could have been here recording videos regardless. But I definitely would have had to, sacrifice some other things. And I'm not trying to gain any money from this. I'm not trying to get anything. I truly just want to talk about what I'm talking about and put it out there, and I hope that it helps somebody or they get something from it. So if you're new around here, this is the Uncut Gym series where I essentially talk about things that I think are important, things maybe, I wish I knew a little bit better when I was younger. Um, Things, I would tell somebody that I deeply care about, and I try to talk to you as though you are somebody who's very important to me. Um, and so, essentially, I think one thing I'll talk about is, um, being blocked, being unable to do stuff, procrastination. Me, in this sense, like not wanting to upload another video recently, not wanting to get out there and actually do anything. And I didn't want to because, some part of me was like, oh, like, what's the point in uploading another video? I don't think anybody's going to watch it. Granted, I have had a couple viewers, a couple comments, whatever. I'm like, I'm just talking into the void. But I realized, I wasn't doing it for people to comment or to like or to do anything. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it, because this is something I care about, something true to my being. Um, and it's getting over those hurdles, those self doubts, moving forward. And I think that most time procrastination boils down to not believing that you can, or believing that you'll fail in some way, because you're putting it off because you're delaying the inevitable. You're delaying the result. You're delaying what comes from that event, whether you label it good or bad. You're simply delaying that. That's all procrastination is. Um, and it's easier to not procrastinate when you have deadlines, but when you're doing something that you actually care about and no one's telling you to do it, there are going to be no deadlines. There's not going to be any, like there's nobody saying, oh, like you have to study for this test because you have to do this or you have to do that. Like, no, none of that exists. It's up to you. If you want to do it, then you have to do it. Nobody's going to tell you, that it's right or wrong. Um, so yeah, I wish I, understood procrastination and how to get over it a little bit better when I was younger, because it usually 99% of the time when you're procrastinating something, it's something that you have to do. It's something that has to get done. It's something that's going to get done regardless. Um, and by delaying it, you're delaying the inevitable. You're putting it off until later, and so you're really just, paying yourself now, and then collecting the debt later. And so it's like, okay, what if I just, paid it up front right now? What if I gave the creditor my check for $1,000 instead of delaying it and gaining interest on it? What if I did that? Would it not make my current day a little bit less stressful? Um, and I think a good example in my life when I really realized this was back when I was in college. For the first part of my college career, I had really I'd been goofing off a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I hadn't been doing much. I had just been enjoying my time. I got there, I was young. I was 18 years old, fresh into college. Like, I'm studying computer science. I don't know, like, I don't know anything. I'm getting used to the landscape, the environment, the people, the social events, things like that. And I'm putting off work. I'm procrastinating doing my schoolwork because it doesn't help me in what I think is important at that time. It doesn't help me to hang out with people. It doesn't help me to. It's not enjoyable. It's not nearly as enjoyable as any of the other stuff I'm doing. So I'd put it off. Um, and I'm decently good at school. I've always been a little bit more gifted in that regard. And so, like, in high school and things like that, I never had to study. I never had to put much effort into it, and I would still do good. I would still get good grades. I had no issues with that. Like, I didn't have to really study for tests. I would do my homework during lunch, like, so I could play video games at home during that time. And I kind of carried those habits over to college, where I got here. I was like, okay, like, I never really had to try too hard in school. I'm going to continue to do that. Um, and I think it's gonna work. And it did sort of work. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I didn't really worry about school. I didn't really study for exams. I don't think I learned how to study until my junior year of college. Um, and I still had a pretty good GPA. It was still above average for my major. I was still definitely passing all my classes, and I was going through the degree. But then later, something changed. Some part of me around my junior year started to question, like, am I living up to my potential? I feel like I could be doing so much more. And I feel like when I'm older, I'm gonna look back on this time and I'm gonna be like, wow, like I wish I would have applied myself more. I wish I wouldn't have procrastinated as much. Um, and essentially, I flipped a switch. I had other things going on in my life that maybe contributed to this. I was faced with some adversity that started to change my perspective. But I flipped a switch. I started saying, what if I just did it? What if I just actually applied myself? What if instead of procrastinating getting my work done, I just did it. Um, Instead of, goofing off, I did the one thing I'm supposed to do. I was a student, I actually applied myself in my classes. I studied for my exams. I didn't do my homework last minute. What if I actually did it so I could see what I was truly capable of? Um, and so when I started doing this, when I started putting things like that first and no longer procrastinating them, it got to a point where um, I got really good at the system. I got really good at school. I got really good at doing it and doing it effortlessly. That semester, when everything changed, I ended up getting my first 4.0 in college. And that really, that affirmed it to me. That affirmed that, hey, like I was already, doing good in school, but if I truly apply myself, then I can do exceptionally. In fact, I can do perfectly. And so then it came back, the next semester. I had figured out, what is the formula? What does it take for me to do that well? And then I was able to reapply it again. I was able to not procrastinate my work. I was on top of it. It got to a point where I was literally a month ahead in my classes. Like all the schoolwork was done because they would release it online, and so that you could see like what assignments you were going to have for that semester. And I was just cranking them out. I was just doing them way, way, way ahead of their deadlines. And this allowed me to have a lot of time to study for exams. Generally it would take me about, if I wanted to get an A on a test, it would take me about 4 days of studying. But there would be times where I had 2 weeks to study if I wanted to study, and literally I had nothing else because I had done all my classwork. I could even socialize at this point because I had nothing else holding me back. And it was really just a switch on mindset. It was the ability to no longer procrastinate my work and to actually get after it, to actually do it, and to hold myself accountable. And after that first 4.0, I ended up doing a 4.0 every single semester for the rest of my college career. It had become incredibly formulaic to me. I was able to get my overall GPA up to a GPA that I was quite happy with, something that I could look back on and be proud of my time. And for my future self, I was able to show myself that if I really just apply myself, I don't procrastinate what's hard, I get after it, and I really put my head down and grind, that I can achieve whatever it is that I want to achieve. And I left it there. And so that when I look back into the past, I can be happy with what I had done. I can know that I actually applied myself and saw what it would look like when I applied myself. And it also gave me confidence going forward. It gave me confidence in other things that I would do. To know that when I put my head down and I really think about things and I do them correctly and I put in that effort, that I am capable. And that's something that I hope you all take away from this, is that you should give yourselves the opportunities to prove that you are capable, to prove that it is possible for you to do something. Because if you do that, then when you face other challenges later in your life, when you do other things, you're going to have that pre-built confidence. You're going to have the confidence from when you did it before, and it could have been a totally different environment, a totally different subject. It doesn't matter. You're going to have the confidence that when you applied yourself, you actually got it done. And that's so incredibly important, in my opinion, because no matter what you face after that, you're gonna know. You're just gonna have some innate confidence that can allow you to perform better, to allow you to break past those mental barriers, to get over those blockades, because time and time again, you've proven to yourself that you can get past the barriers, you can get over them. And even recently, like I've been facing some mental blockages making these videos because I'm like, how do I know that the information I'm talking about is actually valuable? How can I say that anybody's going to gain anything from my experiences or what I have to spew? And it could so easily just procrastinate ever making one of these videos again. I could put it off for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, hope that it magically hits me in the face and I have the idea for the video. And I know what to do. But that's just not the way it works. I have to get out there. I have to actually try and upload something. I have to fail. And eventually, it will get to a point where, I am better at these things. I have better ideas. I am more comfortable, talking to the void and just spewing my thoughts. Everything is a little bit clearer. And I personally have complete and utter faith in that because I have so many times before challenged myself to actually do something and to do it well. And every single time I have applied myself, I have been able to do it. And so that's something I hope you are able to build up for yourself. Something you can get out of this is to just keep trying, to not be afraid of failing, to not procrastinate your future because whatever's going to happen is going to happen regardless. And to really just seize the moment and take advantage of it. And the more you prove to yourself that it is possible, the more that you will do and the more you'll be capable of doing. And the less daunting challenges will seem, no matter how big they get. Because when you get over one hill, there's always a bigger hill ahead of it. There's always something more to be surmounted. And there comes a point where you got to ask yourself, should I keep going? Am I happy with my current mountain? You have to be balanced in your life. But you also have to be confident that if you want to continue on, if you want to do this thing, you are capable of it. And you become more confident in that by doing. You become more confident by seeing results over time, by actually aligning with that person. So yeah, I don't know. Those are my general thoughts on the matter. A little bit of my own anecdote, a little bit of my own story. I didn't successfully make it out of this area. I genuinely have no idea what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. I tried to go up in that teleporter. It didn't work out. But maybe in the next video I'll be able to escape here. But yeah, I hope you guys got something from that. I just got to keep uploading these videos. I think I'll get better at them. I think my thoughts will be more succinct, and I hope I can provide you with more value. And I hope you can also just watch me, try something that I'm not so good at, something that I'm not proven to be good at, and hopefully get better over time. And if I can do it, you can do it. And I will prove it live here for you to watch so that you can get up and get off your butt and achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve with your life. So yeah, anyways, if you somehow made it to the end of this video, if you somehow got through my ramblings, and maybe it wasn't that hard, maybe I should have a little bit more confidence in that, then thank you. I appreciate you watching this. Feel free to give me feedback. Feel free to debate. Feedback is super valuable. That's how I learn. That's how I get better at these things. That's how I understand what you guys actually want to see and what you don't want to see. And so, yeah, thank you very much. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next video.